Hi once again, everyone. It's Eric here with weather for Weather Geeks. It's the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast. It's the Monday evening edition here on the 26th day of March. Less than a week to go in the month of March, and boy, has it been a chilly one in our part of the country. In fact, today was only our fourth warmer than average day this month. Every other day has been below average, except last Monday was exactly average. But 52 today is two better than the average high on this date of 50. It's certainly going to go into the record books this month as a cooler than average month, although we'll see the number change a little bit because it is going to warm up some over the next few days, especially Wednesday and Thursday, and more seasonable weather by the weekend will make it so we probably won't finish the month at 4.3, but certainly at least a few degrees below average. Looking pretty likely for the month of March. That'll make it two consecutive colder than average months, February and March. We haven't had too many consecutive colder than average months over the last couple of years. All right, this evening we have a band of high clouds moving in ahead of our system that's going to bring some rain tomorrow. Now, the rain's still pretty far off to the west. I'm a little worried that the clouds are going to mess with our International Space Station pass this evening, coming up at 8:46. Hopefully the cirrus clouds stay thin enough that you can check out the space station, appearing in the west-southwest sky at 8:46, and 6 minutes later it'll disappear in the northeast sky. We had some nice space station flybys over the weekend. Tonight's will actually be the brightest and highest. Again, though, I'm a little worried about the clouds coming in and being a little bit thick, so we'll see how that pans out. All right, rain, that's the big story for tomorrow. It was a week ago tomorrow that we were getting ready for the snowstorm. This week, nothing like that, but it's certainly going to rain tomorrow, probably starting just before daybreak in some spots. Now, you'll notice the model here has little hints of pink right on the leading edge of the rain. I think it'll be non-impactful, but I can't rule out the rain pushing in with temperatures near 32 in some of the colder spots, some of the sheltered valleys. The clouds rolling in earlier than maybe a little bit expected this evening should prevent most places from getting down to 32. In fact, I think a lot of places are closer to 35 as the rain gets underway tomorrow morning. So chilly rain tomorrow morning. Might see a let up in the rain tomorrow afternoon. Might try to drizzle some, but it may not be as steady as it was in the morning, and then the rain should push back in or fill back in as we go into the evening, into the overnight, and this front's just going to kind of hit the brakes. This is a stationary front, of course. Stationary fronts on weather maps have the little warm front knobs, or what's the word I'm looking for? Nubs. And also the cold front kind of spikes, the blue. That's how you know it's a stationary front, and this front will be nearly stationary all the way through Wednesday night and Thursday, meaning more rain coming our way. It's going to be a pretty unsettled midweek period. Now, this just covers tomorrow through Wednesday night. Pretty good model agreement here. You know, we're talking about models pretty tightly clustered here, an inch to inch and a quarter, and this doesn't count Thursday, so we might end up with an inch and a quarter to an inch and a half worth of rain for the week when we count Thursday. This only takes us out through Wednesday night. So, yeah, pretty good drink of water heading our way. Free car wash for everyone who, if you're like me and you have a car, I have a black car, and it's still showing the salt from our wintry weather we had last week. All right, as we head towards Easter weekend, my confidence in the forecast details starting on Friday is pretty low. Lots of model disagreements starting on Friday with regards to the timing of ripples of low pressure moving along in a pretty fast flow. I don't foresee any major storms impacting us, and some of the more optimistic modeling would suggest that most of Friday, most of Easter weekend will be dry. However, we have some challenges ahead of us, and I'll show you why here. Here's the GFS model. I'll skip ahead to Friday. The GFS, if taken literally, would suggest there could be a flurry Friday morning, followed by a dry afternoon, followed by a dry start to Saturday, and maybe some showers for the second half of Saturday, and maybe even a few wet snowflakes late Saturday, Saturday night, and then Sunday, Easter Sunday, would be bone dry. So that's the GFS. Again, the GFS showing a drying trend on Friday, but the rain pushes back in Saturday, and then a drying trend again on Sunday. Here's the European model. I'll skip ahead to Friday. It suggests a dry day on Friday through the daylight hours, and then maybe some rain and snow showers Friday night. That's quite a bit different than the GFS. It suggests Saturday is bone dry. Remember, the GFS has showers around on Saturday. And then it suggests on Easter Sunday a chance for a couple of showers. Again, I don't think it's anything major. But you have the GFS and European disagreeing on the timing of individual waves coming along. And when we look at some of the ensemble modeling, it doesn't offer much in the way of clarity. So my confidence in forecast details Friday through Easter is pretty low at this point. It should start to go up over the next couple of days. All right, I oftentimes show you this loop when we start looking at the longer range, and what I've been showing you a lot lately is cold. Warmer than average colors, of course, the oranges and reds, the colder than average blues, greens, purples. This is the European model. Here's our midweek warming trend in the east. But notice the cold building. That's a pretty impressive cold air mass up here. If this were January, this would be 20 to 30 below. Thankfully, it's not January. But it's building across Canada, and it's going to unleash down across the U.S., aiming first at the Northern Plains, Northern Rockies, and then beyond Easter, it'll start to ooze east. Now, before that colder air mass arrives, I don't think it's super cold at all for Easter weekend. It's not going to be real warm, but, highs Easter weekend right now. Again, my forecast confidence is pretty low. On the precipitation side of things, on the temperature side of things, it's a little higher, but it doesn't look cold to me. We're talking probably at least 50 for highs over the Easter holiday weekend. But then the cold does come east. After Easter, it starts oozing east, and yeah, we're firmly in this for next week. The week, several days after Easter. Again, these air masses don't have the kind of bite they have in January, certainly. It's, we're talking April now. But still, where you get these green colors on the map, that's still 5 to 8 degrees below average, which means I think a lot of days in the 40s next week, which is, it's chilly stuff for early April, and it has some staying power. If you've been watching Weather for Weather Geeks lately, I've been talking about the first half of April looking pretty chilly. And here's a look at the latest CFS, Climate Forecast System model for April, the whole month, showing a colder than average signal across a lot of the northern half of the U.S. This may be especially weighted into the first half of the month, but I don't have a lot of confidence in the pattern during the second half of April just yet, but the first half of April is certainly looking chilly. Not to say there can't be a mild day here and there, but overall pretty chilly pattern. So patience is a virtue if you're waiting for true spring to start kicking in. All right, that's it for Weather Geeks tonight. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you back here tomorrow evening.